In the last video, I tried fixing this Nintendo Switch that I bought for 60 euros. I thought the CPU was dead, but I found more stuff, so here we go again. This video has been sponsored by PCBWay. Ma ne parliamo a rope. Last time, I forgot to check here. If I had, I would have immediately noticed this. I'm gonna play with the reflections, and you can probably see what I'm talking about. This non-reflective spot is actually a burn mark. This chip is completely fried. It is also crumbling when I touch it. Normally, when a small chip is broken next to a big chip, it means that the big chip is gone as well. And this little thing is shorted. I don't know what it is, it might be normal. Kinda looks like a capacitor, but not quite. I'm just gonna grab another board and we can check the differences. I'm gonna start off with the mysterious small component. Dead short. Dead short. This is shorted even on the spare board, so I think it's safe to say that this is normal. Here we don't get a dead reading, so we're not supposed to get a dead reading here. And here we get a 0.74 reading. Right, so for now we're gonna remove the faulty component here, but first we're gonna play with it a little bit. At least in the burned area, it's... yeah, I just dug a hole in it. I have a link to all my tools in the video description, together with my Patreon page and my Discord server. Right, now we don't get a short here anymore. And here we get 0.7. Which is what we were getting before on the dorm board. Now this is telling me that probably this IC is alright. Now I just gotta see if I fixed the short from the previous video. Obviously still a short. There's really no point replacing anything yet. Okay, this is shorted. I don't think this is normal, but I'm still gonna check the spare board. Just as I thought, this should not be shorted. I'm starting to think that this chip could be the problem, but it is a BGA chip, which means in comparison to any other type of chip, it's very difficult to replace. So before I do that, I'm going to try removing the capacitors just in case they're the problem and not the big chip itself. So it looks like the capacitor wasn't the issue after all. Well, time to put it back on. I'm thinking it's probably one of the power management ICs. If I'm right, something is shorted around here. This chip is showing a lot of shorts. I'm gonna try with this other one. This one isn't reading any shorts instead. There is another power management IC on the back. Let's see how many shorts this one is showing. I'm seeing a short here. And a short here. It has to be one of these two. But we'll find out after talking about today's sponsor. PCBWay.com specializes in custom PCB manufacturing and rapid PCB prototyping. They also offer other CNC manufacturing services like CNC machining and 3D printing. With PCBWay.com, you can build an entire electronics project from start to finish. You don't have to be an expert. You can pick anything from the shared projects category and get it made for you. And even if you don't know how to solder, you can find practice boards. Click on the link in the video description and sign up today for a $5 welcome bonus. Now back to the video. Most of the time when you're fixing a board with a short circuit, your goal is to find the faulty component, and as soon as you remove it, most if not all short circuits on the board will disappear. And right now, I'm trying to find that. Okay, that wasn't the problem either, but I'll explain something. You see me poking around and you hear beeps, and that's because I'm actually counting them. In most cases, capacitors are not supposed to be beeping on both sides, and if they are, that means that there's a problem. So in this case, when I say that there's a short circuit, I mean that I found the capacitor that's beeping on both sides. Now you can even see me removing stuff, poking, and then putting it back, and that means that it actually wasn't the problem, but it's a perfectly good component, so I put it back. But I'm not putting back all the chips that I'm taking off, even if they're good, and that's because they're BGA chips, and you can't just put them back on, you need to prepare them first. You need to reball them. This is not working at all, so I'm just gonna go remove the Wi-Fi chip, the one I didn't want to touch. Should have probably just removed this one in hindsight. Everything is still shorted. I've been trying off camera to inject some current into the board to see if anything heated up too much, and whatever it did was going to be our faulty component. Sadly, I found nothing. I don't really have any professional tools like a thermal camera to detect even the most subtle temperature differences across the entire board. For the purposes of this video, I'll be attempting one last thing that is completely pointless but definitely cool. I'll be removing the RAM chips to see if that somehow helps us. I don't think it will, but even if it does, instead of a motherboard, we're going to end up with a ground zero. The only good thing is that it's cool, and in the future we can get back to this and put everything back on and see if it works. Right, the switch is dead. Check out these other two videos, and I hope you're happy.